Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Tuesday Qigong. So today is a bit of a special day for me, aside from the fact that we're still at the beginning of spring, but since 2:22 Eastern Time, I've now slipped into the golden age of being a senior. And so, yeah, I made it. I made it. And so tonight, I'm going to be sharing a bunch of different movements that are essentially Michel Yummy, and then you can partake in them. And as I shared with the group a moment ago, this is many of these exercises will find their way into the later practice on the Tuesday night, the 7:30 to 8:30. Okay? So of course, we still start in Wuji posture. That remains the practice posture for everything we do in Qigong. And so taking a moment to really step into the awareness of what Qigong brings in your life, the awareness of yourself, as you bring focus to your posture. Notice maybe where there might be tensions. Check into your weight. Where does it fall into your feet? We've covered that many times already. Well, there should be a sense that you can just hang out here, relax. And let's bring down the heavens, gathering earth and heaven energy, and sweeping that in the front of the body, opening the fields to clear awareness by releasing what no longer serves you or what stands in the way of this clear awareness. All right, I have to point this out. There's only 3 men in here with me. There's got to be a first, and there's one more man on. So there's more men in this practice tonight than women. Thank you, guys. Yes. Well, we're not going to be doing the football. Well, maybe later, maybe after. Okay, one more pass. Of course, I like that everyone practices, that it's been so common that whether it's in Qigong or in acupuncture, that the class usually attracts more women and men. Herbalism, same thing, I think, right? So, okay. So from this Wuji posture right now, let your palms float up. And here in this position, imagine gathering earth energy through your palms and through your feet. Notice how that feels. And then shift your palms upward. And now gathering heaven's energy through your crown and through your hand. And again, notice how this feels. And returning to this one, if that's what feels most comfortable, which is an indication that this is what you need, or staying with this one, if this is the most comfortable in this moment. And neither is better than the other one. Neither one is better than the other one. It's just about noticing what you need in this moment. Breathing here. And for those of you who know how to practice the microcosmic orbit, circulating that energy around your body, the perineum to your crown and then down, up the back and down the front. So this stationary position is something that is done in advanced Qigong. This is ultimately what we're meant to develop. You can let your hands settle, is the awareness of the internal flow. Okay, so let's open up the body for practice a bit more. So bringing your hands to your lower back in the area, breathing in here. On the out breath, bending forward and sweeping through the side and back of the legs, releasing that energy in the ground, gathering new energy, bringing that up on the in breath, on the inside of the legs, stopping briefly in the lower abdomen, and finishing in the lower back. So this is all in breath. Out breath. Releasing in the ground, gathering new chi, bringing that in the inside of the legs into the lower abdomen. Completing here, maybe with more in breath if you need to. Out breath. And keep cycling through. Then one more flow. And bring the hands back to lower dantian. When we open up the legs, we'll do the same thing for the arms. So stepping into the archer position. So the meridians of the arms come down this way on the inside and then come back up here. So breathe out as you brush down an inner aspect. Breathe in as you come up. Using your legs as well. Engaging the legs. Nice flow. Line going on to the other side. So your hand can touch lightly, you can be a bit more physical, so brushing the physical body, or just gliding above and working through the fields of the physical protective energy field that we have around our body. A couple more. And then returning to center. So there's various ways to bring more chi into the hands. One of my favorite ones, without doing the dropping the posts, is shaking the wrist this way. So opening up the wrists. So the movement here is down, 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 down. Notice how you focus on that, the hand bounces back up. And as you get to know the exercise, you can actually really open up. Okay. Opening up the arms, so bringing your arm up. So here the movement is a bit different than what we do normally. So if you notice where you start here, when your hand comes down, it transits through that rest position. It's very brief here, and then you come up again. So you're letting gravity essentially bring your hand down. So you may notice here my arm comes up on the side. There's no big movement like this. We're not stretching. We're learning to relax the arm here. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. There should be a very smooth flow here throughout. And of course, you can do that with both sides. Okay, returning to Wuji. So very active, so much more martial arty in this. So I'm gonna do the next one. Respect your capacity on this. This is a little bit more advanced. It requires a bit more awareness of where your root is. But now we're gonna start here. And then bending from that place where the legs enter the hips. You're going to go from here down, and then you send the hands back a second time, then breathe up, and then send the hands back twice like this. So when you come up, you're actually opening here. Be careful of your head. You don't want to tilt it back this way. Right, so we start here, and then down and back and up here, down. So when you're dropping down, there's this sense now of everything following with gravity. And one and returning to Wuji. Okay. So the set that I want to share mostly in tonight, and I'll bring some modification to it, is the 8 silken brocades. One of the most practiced sets across all of Qigong. And even within that set, there's variations. Different teachers will teach it differently. The first one, you start with your hands in front here. So raising the hands towards heaven to benefit the triple warmer. So as you breathe in, the fingers will go into each other, and at the forehead, they push up. This is all in breath, sorry. Out breath, the hands come back down, separate around the throat chakra, come back down. Breathe in. And out. So you're looking up mostly with your eyes, a slight tilt in the head. So here, as you breathe in, now we're going to breathe out and turn to one side. Breathe in back to center and out to the other side. In into center. Now again to the other side. So noticing here that as I turn, I'm dropping into that leg, and then the upper body continues. So the hips are mostly stationary as the upper body. And one more time, going to this side, and then returning to center, and then letting your hands come back. Now this version actually now goes into the exercise that for the yellow snake. So one of the animal protectors, and this one is relates to the earth, I believe. So there's a variation to this. So we're going to go up again, breathing in. And then you're going to bend forward as if you're feeling the outside of the snake's shell. Breathe in. Now, if you're able to go lower, that's fine. That would be a variation on the 8 brocades, a little bit more demanding. And stopping at the heart level. Just going to do a few of these, and then we go the other way. So breathing out, breathing in as your arms come up. Feeling again the outside. So now the palms are close to you on the way down. And then as you breathe in, you're feeling the front of your shell, your snake shell. Stopping in the heart. And the last version. So breathing in. Turning to one side, Now feeling shell all the way around this way. Breathing in as you come up. Breathing out as you come. So again, paying attention here. You want to be moving from your hips. Not so much from the lower back. So which is just 3 on this side. Stopping in the center. And then going down the other way. Three already. And back around. And top. And now releasing. Oh. This one really opens the upper body, opens the arms. Really good exercise. So the next in the 8 brocade is opening the bow to let the arrow fly. So this one is actually done in a horse stance. Now here, please trust what's comfortable for you. For some of you, it might be a very deep. The thing is, to keep this correct, you're going to have to come quite down. So if you, and the feet are facing forward. Right? So you're going to be coming down this way. So if that's stressful, then narrow it. But you don't have to go deep, but it's much more about doing the right exercise. So breathe into center here, arms across. You're going to come down center as you stretch the bow. So my fingers here are open into an L. This one is touching into long 1. You're looking into that L that's in front of you. This is breathing out. Breathing in, back to center. Left hand in front. Now we reverse. So you're dropping straight in the middle of this one. In and out. In. Out. This one, as the eyes are so focused, it is said to be really good for the liver. The eyes are the opening into the liver. We're also stretching, working through the meridians of the gallbladder and liver to some extent. Left side. Dropping dead in the middle in this one. So as you're coming down, there's no shift in this version. There's no shift to either side. You're just dropping straight down in the middle. And one more. Moving to center first. And then returning to Uji posture. So the next one is an exercise to help with the digestive organs. Raising the hands to condition the stomach and spleen. Again, there's a number of variations in this one. The one I like most, because it seems to, I like the movement, it's quite ample. You start by bringing your hands on top of each other. So one hand, so we'll go separate here. One hand presses up towards heaven. The other one presses down towards earth. So we're going to move them together in the next movement. When you're done here, you do a big windmill to return the hands here first. So this is breath in, breath out. Looking up. Breathing in as you windmill. Using your legs as well. Beautiful, calm movement, stretching, breathing in, breathing out. Really getting a sense of pushing the bottom hand into the earth, the upper hand towards heaven. And one more each side. And first doing the windmill and returning to Uji. If I, oh, that's it. So turning the head left and right to eliminate the 5 fatigues and the seven illnesses, no less. So this one is probably the simplest of all of them. The idea here is to lubricate the neck, not so much to stretch. We're going to be looking left and right, essentially, in the first version. And then we'll do another one that actually is more about spinal cord breathing, which is similar, but done quite differently. And it's a beautiful exercise that is also done in yoga in a different form. So here with your palms, essentially, what are we doing? And yeah, so goodness. So starting in the center here, breathing in, and then breathe out, look to one side. As you turn, it's the shoulders that turn and open up the arms. So this is breathing out. Breathing in as you return to center, and then breathing out to the other side. So turning the shoulders and the head. Rotating the shoulders, turning the head. Breathing in towards center. You can involve your legs if you want in there too. One more each side. And returning to Uji posture. And then we'll do the spinal cord breathing. Bring your feet in a little bit if you're, yeah, so Uji stance. And we're going to bring our hands here in the center. We're breathing in here. On the out breath, you open again the chest, and then you let the hips come forward. So you end up looking up, but because you're arching or you're opening the hips here. So this is breath out. No, actually, breath out into the center. So breathe out here, my apologies. All the way collecting into the center. When you open, it's a breath in. So imagine now as extra element to this, that as you open, not only are you gathering air into your lungs, you're also gathering air through all your pores, all the way into the center of your spinal column. And then releasing here from the center through the pore. Breathing in, really opening the chest, and breathing out. And here, squeezing, squeezing, squeezing air through the skin pores. In and out. One more cycle. And relaxing into Uji posture. So I'll draw your attention that I'm asking you to relax in Uji posture. There might have been a time where it was so new that it didn't feel so relaxed. You can find that state of calmness here. We keep moving chi. So these exercises are not taught at the beginning because it's actually what the general healing workout does. It introduces the principles, the general principles, but also it aims at harmonizing the communication between each organ so that you increase your vitality before you enter in more advanced movement. Right? It seems simple, and yet, so when I invite you, for instance, to breathe into your spinal column, well, we don't do that necessarily. We could, but without proper posture and understanding what the alignment is, you don't benefit to the full extent. So the basics, it's like anything else, the basics come first. Okay. So the next one, the fifth, is bending over, wagging the tail to calm heart. To calm the heart fire. So we've done that one before, I think last week. So this one, you might want to have a slightly, actually this one is also done in horse stance. It's easier. With your hands on your thighs. So you breathe in here, breathe out, as you breathe out, you're gonna turn to one side, bend into that leg. So now the weight is on the side that you're bending. So this is out breath all the way to center. From center, you start breathing in as your weight shifts to the other leg. You come up into that hip and return to center. This is all in breath, out breath. Now we go back from where we came from. Breathing in as you come up. Return to center. Breathe out. Wagging the tail. Relax, heart fire. So the leg in which you're going down, the knee stays over the foot. Same thing when you come up. The other leg doesn't bear weight, so it has more freedom of movement. You can let that knee be relaxed. But here, my knee remains as much as possible over my foot. Same thing as I go down, really aware what's happening with your knee. I want to torque. Do one more cycle, going one way and coming. Narrowing your stance back into Uji posture. Big movement. Notice what's happening in your legs from this. It's a really good movement to activate the legs, open up the hips, and clear heart fire. And climbing the legs to tonify the kidneys. So this is very similar to what we did a moment ago. We actually start here in the kidneys. So the version we did early on is known as descending yang, as ascending yin. So this would be the 8 brocade version of it. So it's very similar. So we're following the back of the legs. Difference here is as we come up, we're going to continue up. And again, arch the back here. So arch the hips, look up. And then the hands will come down. Hold breath. Actually, breathe in here. I got this wrong a little bit. Breathe out. Breathe in as you come up all the way to the lower abdomen. Breathe out as you go up. Breathe in as your hands come down into the kidneys. Breathe out. In. Out. In. Out. One more cycle. Into the kidneys. And relaxing back into the lower dantian. Yeah. The next one is a couple of versions. Punching with angry eyes to clear liver, qi stagnation, liver heat. So this one was done kind of a semi-horse stance. Yeah. So we're going to do first the more Taoist version, so quite intense. So breathing in here, as you breathe out, you make angry eyes. Breathe and gather the wisdom that's there, bring it back in. So it's done fairly slow. So we go horse stance because you're meant to actually drop deep into your legs if that's comfortable. Because we're medical Qigong practitioner, we can put the sound here. Shoo, it fits right in there. Shoo. 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 Clearing liver stagnation. Shoo. 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 One more each side. Shoo. Shoo. Coming back. And returning to Uji posture. The other one version, the Buddhist version, much gentler. So when you study, if you ever study the fundamentals of meridian flow in the body, some of the most important points, acupuncture points, are at the fingers. These points will clear heat. Sometimes they'll be bled to clear extra heat, which is, so bled is like one drop of blood. And as surprising as it may sound, that little bead of blood sometimes is enough to release the heat that was stored in the skin that was creating our skin rash. Try to explain that. You know, it's like it works. That's all we can say, right? And For some reason, that changes the balance that's happening in the body. Anyway, so these points in the fingers are really important, and they all fingers have at least one of these, what we call Jingwell point. So they're all in a nail bed on the corner. So I'll point this way. So it would be, so the lung would be here, large intestine would be there. Actually, the pericardium is right at the tip. Triple wormer is right there. Inside here is the heart, and then you get the small intestine. Right? So 6 Jingwell points. So we return to holding something in your fists here that is really bugging you in life. And when you're gonna flick it out, make sure you don't send it to your neighbor, which would be me. I don't know where to stand now. Okay, yeah. Well, some of it is going to the front, some of it is going to the side, right? So we've done this one before, but just be aware that you're clearing things that you don't want anymore. So we're actually using the heart to inform this release now. So in the 5-element diagram, so for you, you would have the water element, the liver, the heart, spleen, the lungs. So if you can imagine a pentagram, so the energy of the liver, which is here, actually goes into the heart. So it's actually clever involving two organs that are contributing to each other's health. Right? So we have the hands right here to the side. Imagine holding that, what is bugging you in your right hand. Yeah, breathe in as you bring the arm across the heart here to the opposite shoulder. The fist is facing up. Turn here in front. And you're going to flick your fingers with out breath 5 times. So again, here we gather the wisdom of this experience and you bring it through the heart back to the side. And now imagine holding that in your left palm. Breathe in as you bring that through the heart, cross to the front, turn, and release. Gather, and bring that through the heart. Back to the right hand, bring that across to the shoulder, and all the way out to the side. Look over that fist now, turn, and release 5 times. Gather, bring that all the way through. Breathe in, same thing on the other side. Wisdom of this, take it place. Now we do that with both arms at the same time. So as you breathe in, you cross here, bring them in front, turn the fist down, breathe out. Gather, bring that across. And again, breathe in. Now we go to the sides. Look to the front, just go to the sides, face down. Gather, bring it across. So this would be one flow. So if that's the main exercises, depending how much this has been bugging you, you would maybe do it. So for the liver, maybe as many as 8 times. A really good way to clear stuff, especially if you're able to imagine holding this and then releasing it. And then, the virtue for the wood element, for the liver, is actually compassion. It's the willingness to consider the other option, that there's something for you to learn in this. That's what you bring back in. Much different flow on that exercise. Take the back 7 times to eliminate the 100 illnesses. We did that, Keith. Obviously, we haven't cleared everything yet. So this one is a bit, again, similar to what we did earlier on. Um, I don't, the differences have not been explained to me to this point. But essentially, we begin by, so breathing in here. As you breathe out, you let your spine round forward. So this is a modification to the 5-yin opening. And then when you get to the hips, you let your body come all the way down. And then when you come up, breathe in back into the spine. Let your hands go to your lower back. And here we're really pushing the hips, the back up. And so you go as far as you can here without tilting the head back. This is all upper bodies. For those of you that have a very flexible back, it's probably going to look much rounder than what I'm able to do. And then we go back down the front. So that was one time. So if we want to clear the 100 illnesses, we're supposed to do this another 6 times. You can hang down here a little bit, really let things drop through your arms and legs. Let the body relax in this position here. Couple breaths maybe. Feels good. The legs are bent a little bit so you're not stressing your lower back. Breathe in when you're ready. Come on up. And again, arch the back here. So respect your limit here. Okay, let's keep going. Well, for some of you, it might be good to sink the tail a bit more before you come up. So that would be an advice for people that are not so flexible, maybe whose back is a little bit easily stressed. Somebody keeping count? Oh, I already lost count. I'm so focused on the exercise. Was that 3 or 4? Thank you. That was 3. And you might find actually that sinking the tail, depending how strong your back is, like after a few repetitions, it might be in your better interest to bring the tail down before you come up. And that should be obvious in the video. If you look at the camera, just pay attention to how I change when I come up. Letting here the body hang. Legs are bent a little bit. I let my head, my neck, my arms, shoulders, everything is relaxed here, bent forward. My legs are shaking a little bit, so I'm adding a little bit of stretch in there. And before I come up, I let my tail, my hips come down a little bit so that I'm not overstressing the back. 3 more to do. There's a variation of this in the internal dragons where the hands actually are up here, which is a little bit more of a stretch. This version here, we're just going to stay here, letting body, the arms stretch into gravity. That was 5 for me. 2 more. This is the last one. You should feel actually how your upper body is stretching away from the lower back, kind of pulling everything into the head, arms. It's like draining through the hands. Well, I have a disclaimer on this. I cannot guarantee that the 100 illnesses are gone on the first 7 practices. So maybe a couple for tonight. Yeah, 100 times. Okay, so that's the 8 brocades. This is the version that I've learned through observing Mimi Kuo Deemer. I really like her teachings, actually. So that would be in the second half, the 7:30 to 8:30. Yeah. So if you want and do the other one first, like I'm reflecting on how I'm going to do this, but essentially I'm going to be here from 6:30 to 9 if people want to do Q&A after. And so like if you can do all, if you are desirous to do all this, do it. Otherwise, pick one or the other, and we'll figure out how that works out. Yeah, this is a very different practice, and we can include in there elements of medical Qigong. Okay, so we're going to complete with some of the balancing exercises. So I'm going to bring a bit more in now in an exercise that was first described as, I think I've shared this one before, opening to heaven, closing to earth, opening to earth, closing to heaven. I prefer the renaming of it because it's a bit more descriptive of what the intent is and what we're doing. So calling it heavenly fountain and earth's wellspring gives a better sense of what it is that we're gathering. Right? So this one is pretty simple, starting in Muji posture. So heavenly fountain. As you breathe in, I like to start with my legs here. You breathe in, imagining reaching into the heaven, into all the celestial bodies. And then as your arms come down on the out breath, you're raining that around you. So the energetic foundations of who we are, how the fetus is created. How energetically, heaven is our true father and earth is our true mother. And then we have our earthly parents who also have a communication with the heavenly influences and the earthly influences. So right now we're recognizing the importance of connecting consciously the source of energy that the heavens provide continuously. So everything away from her. Do a couple more. Okay, so then we reverse that. Now we do Earth's wellspring. So gathering, imagine your fingers dipping into the energy of the earth. Reach that, bring that up, and then let it fill your fields. So the physical energy, well, actually all layers, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual layers of the earth. Bringing that.
Hey, Michelle, I think your mic stopped working. We can't hear you, or I can't anyway.
Switch microphone.
I can't either.
What about now?
Yeah, can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to switch microphones.
Good.
Yeah, I think this one is actually the battery for some reason. Kind of strange. All right, we're good. Are we good now? Yes. Anyway, tell me if we're not. Okay. Okay, so this one is known as the vermilion bird, so the phoenix. So if you bring your left foot forward in bow pose, as you shift your weight to the back leg, imagine opening your wings towards the sky. And then as you bend forward, you're breathing out, breathing in, opening your wings. So big movements here. So this is meant to nourish the energies of the red phoenix. And we'll cover that in more details, the importance of those birds when we go into regular practice. So coming back to here, now we're going to reverse that. So breathe in as you come up, and then let your arms open as you go into the back leg. So shifting to the front leg, breathing in, arms come up, wings open as you drop into your back leg. So here, pay attention as well that you're not overarching, you're using this as the opening as you drop into that back leg. Okay, one more. Bringing that front leg in, switching side. So then we do the same thing now for this side. So here, the arms do open. It's a big opening of the chest. This is an exercise. It's the red bird, so it's for the heart. And then we're going to reverse the flow. So going to the front leg, breathing in and out as you open into the back leg. One more. And returning to center. So the variant of this that is from the Hunyuan set pleases me more in terms of being from my training as a herbalist and wanting to interact with nature, and this one in particular with trees. And I've shared this one with the group before. So when we look at the microcosmic orbit that comes up the back and down the front, imagine now that a tree has those same channels. Of course, a tree is round, so as you face the tree, the front of the tree is the conception vessel, and the back of the tree is the governing vessel. So we go into bow pose, and you're pointing towards the tree. Your hands come to your side here. Bring the energy on the in-breath up your spine, out your crown. As you breathe out, it enters the crown of the tree, and it comes down its front. Down its root, across the ground into your root, up the back leg. Big breath in, big circles, all the way into the tree, down its front. It's a beautiful exercise of using nature to balance the flow of yang and yin. On the next one, bring your hands to your hips. So now we're going to go down our front. So down our front leg, across the ground to the tree's roots, up its back, out its crown, out breath as it comes down your crown, your front leg, across the ground. So I invite you to pay attention that when you transfer your weight, especially in the front leg, that you don't let your knee go over the foot. Same here, you don't let your body go out of balance. Okay, one more on this flow. Stopping at the hips, changing your legs. So now the other foot faces the tree. Continue the same way. So down the front, up the back of the tree. And you breathe in as your arms come up. Breathe out as they come down your front. And stopping at the hips. And then we finish the other way. So up the spine, down the front of the tree, across the roots. And one more. And returning to Uji posture. So if you were picturing a tree in particular, take a moment to acknowledge this tree. When you do this in nature, and I should have mentioned at the beginning, we're meant to ask permission to check in. Is this acceptable? And if you calm your mind, even if you don't get an answer, it would either feel good or not good. If it doesn't feel good, do not persist. Look around, there might be another tree, or maybe it's not the right exercise for you in that moment. Typically, trees are really welcoming for this kind of exchange. In the energetic world, you're told that they actually miss our connection this way. That there was a time in human history where this was way more common, maybe not in this form, but in some kind of form where humans we're willing to acknowledge tree kind as another life form on Earth. I have a really good friend in Campbell River, and she was living, I want to say, Quadra, on the beautiful waterfront of the big tree, and we had quite an amazing experience there as she was leaving. And I don't remember the details, so I won't go into it, but it was definitely noticeable for her as a marking in her life. Okay, so let's bring our practice to a close. So again, take a moment to notice how you feel in your Wuji posture. And let's gather white on the next in breath. And then put that into your physical Wei Qi field, a protective field around you, surrounding you, packing this white in all directions. Beautiful winter sky blue, rich, vibrant, mental, emotional field filled with blue around you. And light pink, rose quartz pink. Extending that into your spiritual protecting field around. These fields are really important in Qigong. This is how we know ourselves energetically. There's also the Wei Qi, the immune system that flows through the sinews, so between the skin and the muscles. That's how regular acupuncturists say would look at it, but they're both real, they both exist, right? In Qigong, we don't talk so much about this one, we talk more about this one. Okay, thank you very much. Pleasure to have you all here tonight. And